All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and kick it off. This is something that we just started doing literally today as the first one. You guys have all seen me on all of my zillion social media channels. You guys have seen Tyler Sheff on Cashflow Guys and in a bunch of groups. You guys have seen Taylor Pugh in Kings and Queen City. And most of you guys have seen us in the Kingdom. But I really wanted to take an opportunity to get, between 3 and 5 of the guys that I respect on the same call, just doing some Q&A, doing some stuff that we're really passionate about. Today, what I want to talk about is something that it literally drives me insane, and I think the other guys would agree. I see a lot of people focusing on the wrong thing. I see a lot of people asking the wrong questions and really, in my opinion, doing something that's very, very short-sighted. So a lot of the questions that come into me, at least on Facebook and stuff like that, is, dude, I just want to make $1,000. Dude, I just want to make $3,000. Can you just show me how to do blank, right? And it's always this short-sighted approach. And the real question is, Taylor Pugh, how do I get financially free? Tyler, how do I free my family for the next 10 generations? How do I build a lifestyle that is conducive to what I actually enjoy and what actually brings me fulfillment? So I wanted to take a little bit of time and just talk about that with 2 of my favorite guys, top 20 favorite guys. What do you guys think? Why do people focus on so much on the short-sightedness rather than, dude, how do I get free for the rest of my life, rather than how do I just do a wholesale deal or just a fix and flip or whatever?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to, I'll start with the media, the perception. People feel that, the marketing, advertising that we see everywhere teaches us that if we just apply some minimal effort, swipe a credit card, that's all it takes to make $1 million, and then off we go. We exist in a country where if we can finance it, we'll buy it no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. And I think your problem starts there.
So you're vocalizing the outcome of it, but the real root cause of that is that people in our country are not taught delayed gratification.
Correct.
They aren't taught that, the really famous experiment with the marshmallow, and you get 2 marshmallows if you waited 15 minutes. They aren't taught, if I just wait and buy the car cash, it's going to be cheaper. If I can wait and I can, purchase a big screen, it's $400. Go hold 2 car washes on a Saturday and you'd have it for cash. And I think that delayed gratification is such a huge hurdle to the American population.
So you think it's a lack of education, and you think it's a society thing where it's, you guys know I'm a big fan of the Matrix and all of that, but I think people are brainwashed into, I need it now, and I need, oh my gosh, I've got to cover my mortgage payment in, a couple of weeks, so I've got to do everything now. So Taylor, you think it's a lack of education?
I think, well, it's education with a lack of forward thinking. They look forward to Tuesday instead of, okay, how could I never have to work for that item again ever? And then what do I have to do? Tyler, you recently bought a new toy, which was a jet ski, right?
Right.
And a tricked out Jeep. You bought both of those toys. How did you pay for those individual items?
I sent the bill to my tenants.
So we didn't do that physically, but how did you do that? How did you build that so that you could do it?
Well, by acquiring passive income, income that comes in that I don't have to work for.
I love it. And then so you were able to buy the toys you want using other people's money. Your tenants, whatever price range they're at, they have to work X amount of hours a month so that you can have your toy.
Exactly. Absolutely. It's a great American dream, right?
It is. If we were taught at a young age that if you just grew your passive income, even from a small percentage, every single month, you would be financially free in 20 years. I don't care what percentage you grow it at. If you start with a small percentage of passive income and grow it at some rate, you will become financially free at some point in the future.
Well, and I think it even goes further back from that. If you roll that back even farther, as I had posted in the Kingdom group the other day, I found $5,000 the other day. Didn't find it in my couch cushions. I found it right in front of me in the context of I simply asked the question, and that the answer to the question made me $5,000. What happened was my Jeep. Talk about my Jeep. I called one bank and said, I'd like a lower interest rate than what you're giving me now. And they said it was at like 5% or something like that. And they said, no. I said, okay, that's cool. So I called their competitor, another credit union, and said, I'd like what's the best interest rate you can give me? And they said, oh, we'd happy to refinance that for you at 2.9%. So I pulled the trigger, refinanced it like that. One company lost my business, another one gained my business, and I saved $5,000 in interest payments. $5,000. That's crazy.
And now that's okay. Now that you've saved the money, right? Where do you reinvest that money to continue growing that money? Where most people are going to say, well, I saved the money, so that means I can take the extra money that I'm not paying, and that's an extra a meal out, right?
Exactly.
But when you look at it from the financial perspective of, okay, I've already agreed to spend that money. That money's already been earmarked. Now, how do I reinvest it into something else that'll make me profit?
So you guys are both talking about a bigger picture than just I made $5,000. I'm gonna go do this, this, and this. You guys are talking about how to invest in a long-term, sustainable way, which is not sexy in most arenas. I mean, like HGTV has made the fix and flip sexy because you make, what do? They make 30 grand in, what is it, a 45-minute episode?
Right.
Right. So I think that's glorified in our society, and you know, at least in my generation, that's sexy, right? Then I'm going to go out and buy the Lamborghini and I'm going to do all that. Very few people that I see online are talking about, dude, I want to be financially secure. I want to understand finances like Tyler's saying, and I was able to save an extra $5,000. It was a year, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's total, but still.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, either way. So I don't see that being talked about much. I see, dude, I'm just going to do a wholesale deal and pick up $10,000. Dude, I'm just going to do a quick flip. Dude, I'm just going to list this property very quickly. When Tyler or when Taylor says, hey, look, let's get your finances right. Hey, look, let's get your mindset right and focus on the big picture and actually getting you free so that you're not stuck in this continuous cycle. Like, Tyler, you flipped for many years successfully. And what happened after you did the flip?
Well, a lot of times I made a great profit. And the times that I made a great profit, and that wasn't all the time, but the times I made a great profit, I was kind enough to be able to share it with the federal government in the form of tax.
Mm-hmm. So then you had to go do it again and again and again. Guys, when you see the $30,000 check come in, people don't understand what Tyler just said. You know, you're getting taxed out the behind on that money, and you're forced to be in a cycle where you have to do it again and again and again. You know, in my mind, that's a losing equation. So when I tell people, look, dude, like, this is how you can go get into a single family or multifamily property, and it's going to be $400 a month cash flow. That's not sexy. The $30,000 check is sexy. So guys, how do we get past that? I mean, I don't think we can brainwash people. I've tried 3 times.
Right.
How do we get past, how do we get people in the mindset of, this will get me free? It's not as sexy as $30,000, but this will get me free if I do it, Taylor, like you said, repetitively.
I think Tyler Painter just brought up a good point to let me segue into that for a second. Well, one of the comments that I saw here on Facebook is you didn't do 1031s. And what's important to realize here, and this is where the media and lack of education comes in, is that the media and the general public thinks that the 1031 is the end all be all to save people from taxation. It's absolutely not. Okay? Understanding how the tax code is written comes down to bringing somebody onto your team that understands taxation, because we can only do so much. That said, 1031 does not make tax go away. The 1031 for IRS code simply defers tax to a later time. It's kind of like saying, hey, it's like swiping a credit card. Look, I don't have the money to pay for this now, the taxes, so I'm going to pay for it at some future period. What happens, though, when you 1031 is that tax just keeps adding and adding and adding and adding. Eventually, by the time you really need the money to spend, they're going to tax you to death. And the one thing I think we can all agree on is that taxes, I don't care who's in office, will never, ever go down. So I don't really believe in a lot of cases that 1031 is a viable strategy at all, because you're simply deferring something that's going to happen no matter what. What do they say? You can always count on death and taxes, right?
Well, and your tax bracket, if you're doing it right, your tax bracket is going up because you've got a larger pool of income. So where your first flip, you could have been taxed at the lowest marginal rate because it was your very first flip and you did it at the end of the year and you didn't make a ton of money. When you've got them rolling at the end and you're taxed at that top marginal rate, I've now allowed the government to become a larger partner in my business. I want them to be the smallest partner I can make them. And from my experience, I find that to be the passive real estate income I receive is the best way for them to be the smallest partner in my business, period.
And to further that, it's well known nationally that we work, most Americans, I shouldn't say we because it doesn't apply to the three of us, but most Americans that work a W-2 job, you actually work the first 5 months. You work till May every year simply to pay your tax. 100% of your income earned in the first 5 months of every year goes to tax for most Americans. To me, that would keep me up at night if I wasn't financially free. If you've ever read the book Tax-Free Wealth, written by Tom Wheelwright, probably one of the most famous sayings for me that I keep thinking over and over again is, if you want to change your tax, you have to change your facts. Those of you that work that W-2 job, I don't care if you're making 50, 60, 100 grand a year. If you're punching a clock and you're paid by a normal paycheck or no ordinary income, maybe you're a commissioned realtor, or maybe you're flipping houses, or you're a wholesaler, or maybe you just work a job, right? Regular job. You are being taxed at the highest rates allowed by law. The only way to change that is to change your tax, is to change your facts. And by that, I mean, change how you earn your income. The way you earn your income has an impact on what tax rate you are billed for. And it's all begins with a fantastic CPA. Once I hired my CPA, the whole game changed for me.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna call that financial IQ.
Yeah.
I mean, like literally what you're saying is, I have team members that are a part of my organization that are phenomenal and completely understand that. And that's part of understanding finances. For those of you guys that know us, the three of us, the other mentors, a lot of the people that we hang out with, we're huge on financial IQ, financial literacy, finances, and understanding how things actually work. And I think that's very, very rare. I don't get that a lot. I don't see that being talked about in many groups. So the taxes, or the lack of understanding of taxes, and you combine that with a bunch of lifestyle habits that are terrible. Hey, I flipped a house. I'm gonna go get a Lamborghini. I did this. I did this. Where the lack of understanding of taxes, it's not the way to go. Sorry, my audio is feeding back here.
You have too many people that think, I flipped one house, and first of all, they don't understand how many hours they have to put into flipping a house. Flipping a house is a lot of time, guys. Even on what we call a short flip, we're going to end up doing something on the scale of, hours and hours of work there. And when you break it down to, okay, well, I made this amount of money over 6 months. Yes, you made a lot of money, but you also put in a lot of time, which is a capital you're investing in that, to make back that return.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to ask you guys both this question, and I think I know what you're going to say. I'll start with Tyler. Tyler, if somebody wants to begin on the path of truly getting free, truly getting out of the rat race, and truly building generational wealth, where do we start, man? I think a lot of people want that. I think a lot of people that especially people that follow the three of us, they desperately want that. But where the hell do we start?
Education. And for that, I'll even boil that down even further. It starts with one book, and that's called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then it really comes down to, I truly believe, as far as if you want the core foundation, the education without the $40,000 price tag, that can be had on Amazon.com for about $30. If you buy every one of those purple little books and simply read them cover to cover, and then here's the best part, apply it. Get with like-minded people. Spend time engaging with like-minded people, other people that have read the books. One of the reasons I think that the three of us have done what we've done is because we spend time with each other, keeping each other focused and motivated, and we have all the same thoughts. I come in, I do something that generates another $5,000. I know that I need to call Todd and order me another property, because I can buy properties, give him $5,000. We go get another property. Now I have another cash flowing asset. And I think that's a big piece of it, is taking that initial education and then surrounding yourself with like-minded people. That's where it begins. And if you can, and that's really it, you can skip the $50,000 Google price tag. I mean, really, you're an extension of who you hang around with and the mindset that's shared by you. So that's where I would go with it.
What an interesting concept.
Yeah.
So Tyler, you do that not only online, but you've got different communities. And one of the things that I've really respected about your organization down in Florida is the cash flow games.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're not first of all, if you have never played the game, go order it. It ranges between, I don't know, 30 and $100. It's on Amazon. Cash Flow 101. The game literally will teach you how to get out of the rat race every time you play it. So I've got it on my phone. It's an app that I paid, I think, $3 for. That $3 investment has made me thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars. So Tyler, I've really respected that you not only play that game yourself, but you've brought in, I mean, literally anybody in the community that wants to come in and play that game, you've given them that opportunity. Taylor, I'm going to ask you the same question. Look, dude, I'm in the process of wholesaling, or I'm flipping, and I'm stuck in this cycle. Like Tyler said, I'm getting taxed out the behind. You know, whether you're 1031ing or not, I want to make a change. Where do I start getting on the path of financial freedom?
I mean, obviously, same concept, guys. It's all about your mindset. Rich Dad Poor Dad has a great series of books, and love every one of them. Brilliant, absolute brilliant. To me, he started the revolution that we're going to continue. You know, I talk about it often. My life goal is to financially free 1 million people in my lifetime. And so I can't do that by myself. I need, you know, the team and all this stuff. Like, it's going to have to grow. But Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, some of these educational videos that we are brainwashed to believe a very specific set of facts. Most people are going to believe that the only way to buy a house is by going to a bank and asking for their permission to get a mortgage, to go on MLS to buy a house. And what I'll tell you is that we have found that every one of those facts is not true. And we could go down this rabbit hole really deep. I just want to leave it at the top level of the things that you were taught as a kid and as a young adult aren't factually true. We found that the model of go to school, get a good job, get married, buy a house, have a couple kids, and then retire, and you're going to have enough money to retire isn't true. Inflation eats your retirement. If you have a 401k at a normal job and they're doing that 12% in the market, which is what your normal mutual fund and 12 or 401k is going to be doing, inflation is eating your whole entire retirement. What I can tell you is there's another way to do it, and there's a better way. And if you take that same money that you're putting into your 401k and you were to buy a rental property, the value of that rent is going to continue to increase to keep up with and match inflation in most cases. And so if you went out and just bought a fourplex in your whole entire life, if you just bought a fourplex, you're going to have a better retirement than you will off Social Security. It literally will give you a larger income. If you went all out and you bought, say, 2 fourplexes and a duplex, now we're starting to talk about real residual passive income. And that's really what I need to strive for people to understand. Those stocks are designed to crash every couple of years to pull that money out of the market. Mm-hmm. It's not by accident. Rental rates never go down. On the day they do, you will have much bigger problems in life than the rental rates. Like, it would have to be such a massive catastrophe that real estate is such a strong investment for us. I can't help but continue to do it. And it starts with the education. It starts with the being around like-minded people. It starts with the networking events and talking to people and trying to understand where they're coming from and what expertise they have, and then growing the team. And I think that's where you start.
Absolutely. I just want to address that about rents not going down and whatnot, because you brought up a very good point. And that's something that people will use a lot of times to avoid investing in anything, real estate, whatever, risk. And it comes down to there is not an investment out there that is not incredibly risky if you don't have a proper education, if you don't understand what you're doing. If you take $100 and you throw it at the stock market and you're not an expert in buying stocks and you don't understand the companies that you're buying or what they're doing with the money or how they're managing their business, that is incredibly risky. The same would be said for real estate. If you just go out and take $1,000 of your money and put it down on a house at seller financing and you haven't taken the time to learn how to do the math, crazy risk in that. You can kiss that $1,000 goodbye. So every investment is risky. And rents, the only time rents really have gone down in history is when landlords pay attention to market situations and panic. And historically, that has always been in the single family space. Now, in the multifamily space, when markets crash, because this is another thing people say, well, the housing market is going to crash again. It's too high. It's too high. Let me ask you this. What happened in 2007 and 2008? Let's go back and tell us what history did. History always repeats itself, right? So we all know there's going to be a market crash in the real estate space. It is what it is. Frankly, I'm looking forward to it because we can capitalize and it equalizes things.
I do want to vocalize real quick that all of us are looking forward to it because it's going to happen.
Right.
None of us are wishing bad things on anyone. I want to be really clear on this point. We're just preparing for what we know is going to happen. So we say this often, we say we're looking forward to it, and some people are like, well, you're giddy about it. No, we understand that it's going to happen, so we prepare for it. Anyways, I just wanted to vocalize that point.
Well, I'm giddy for it because I'm a capitalist.
Capitalist pigs are us.
Right. Not taking away from what you said, but I am looking forward to it because the market does need corrections from time to time to stabilize the economy. It's a necessary part of things. That said, when the markets crash and single family houses, if we go back into another collapse like we had in 06, 07, 08, what's going to happen? Well, what happens is people move out of single family houses. Where do they move? They got to live somewhere. They're not living in a box. They move into apartment buildings. When you have the person that is the purveyor of apartment buildings, you own apartment buildings, what happens? There's a supply and demand imbalance, which means there is very little supply because all the people that moved out of the houses move into the apartments. So when the demand is increased, the rents actually go up. Now, people say that's bull, that's garbage. I implore you to check history. History has documented this process. Do the research. Research will tell you what to do. And as far as losing money in real estate, the only people that lost money in the crash are people that sold their properties or did not buy for cash flow. If you're buying an asset for cash flow, this could be a business, this could be a house, it could be a Lamborghini, doesn't matter. If you're buying it for cash flow, the value of it really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because as long as the income continues to be generated, the value really doesn't matter because you've bought it for its cash flow. If I buy a house right now that makes $350 a month, if the mortgage is fixed rate, let's say it's a $100,000 mortgage, and tomorrow the house is worth $10,000, what's changed? My mortgage payment's the same. My rent's the same. Mm-hmm. So what's changed? As long as I don't panic and sell at $10,000, it's not possible to lose money. That comes with responsible debt and understanding what you're investing in.
Financial IQ.
Jordan, let's come back and ask you the same question, though. If you were talking to someone that was just getting started, where would you tell them to go? What would your recommendations? Where would you tell them to start?
Yeah, so we just had a bunch of new people jump in onto the live feed. So I'm going to reiterate really quick what we've been talking about. We started out with the question of why aren't more people pursuing financial freedom rather than just a check, whether it be wholesale, fix and flip, a real estate agent getting a commission. So we've been kind of on this theme for a little bit. I asked both Tyler Sheff and Taylor Pugh, like, first of all, how do we change that? And then, where do we start? So Taylor, I want to go back to something that you said really, really quick about retirement and, 401ks and all of that. I'm going to challenge every single person that's watching. And I think by the time this is done, we're going to have a couple thousand people. I'm going to challenge you guys on this. Go talk to people in their 70s, they're 70 to mid 70, right? Start talking to these people and ask them, hey, what did you do for a living? Hey, did you have a 401k? Hey, did you have all of this stuff? Start talking to these people and ask them their experience with retirement. I mean, it's kind of rude, but hey, Bob, you're old as fuck. How's it going for you? How's your lifestyle? Are you happy? Right? Guys, retirement is not what you think it is. And Taylor, I think you hit on that point really, really well. Guys, you cannot rely on anybody but yourself. So a little bit of a theme that we've had today has been financial IQ, education, and understanding what the hell is going on. So my response to the question of where do we start? I posted this the other day and a lot of people really responded to it. Guys, you will never hit $10,000 a month in passive income until you've hit $10 a month. So my recommendation is stop swinging for the home run on every single pitch. Guys, just start hitting singles. Hit a single. That's how teams win. I don't know if you guys watch baseball or not, but not everybody hits a home run. So if you're looking at the huge picture saying, Tyler, Taylor, I've got to have $10,000 a month in passive income to become free and to do what the three of you were talking about, my recommendation is, dude, go after the $100 deal. Go after the $200 deal. You get in the habit of doing that. Start forcing yourself to do that. Start reworking your head and getting in that habit. Now a $2,000 deal comes across, and because you've been practicing for the last year, you know how to take it down. I see so many people that get overwhelmed because it's this huge task that they have to do, and yet they're not going after the little things. You know, buy a jet ski like Tyler did and rent it to the college kids on the weekend. You might find that you get $400 a month in cash flow. You know, sell something. I'm in the process of selling a couple a trailer and a truck. Sell stuff on owner financing. I don't care what you do, but if you get in that habit, you will find that it's going to become really, really easy to start going after this stuff.
Yeah, I just looked it up because I wanted to make sure I was right on this. So I'm reading right off the quickest Google search I can do. The maximum you can get from Social Security right this minute is $2,687.
Wow.
If that's the maximum contribution, if you have no other retirement and you're relying on Social Security, the maximum you can get is 32 grand a year is what that comes out to. If I had a fourplex and I rented my fourplex only for $675 a unit, I would literally get more income than Social Security. So if you took every penny that you've ever contributed to Social Security, and just bought one fourplex, it would produce better than the government's going to produce for you after 30 years.
But here's the caveat. Taylor understands how to do that using zero of his own money. Tyler understands how to do that using zero of his own money. I understand how to do that. That's where the financial IQ part comes in. That's where all of the books that these guys have been listing, that's where those books have come in. That's where the networking and spending time with other people that are doing it comes in. So Taylor, not only can you do that in one shot on one fourplex, you understand how to do that for free, and then you understand how to duplicate that process. That is freedom.
Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Taylor.
No, go ahead, sir.
That I just wanted to dispel a myth, because I know I can sit here thinking what people are thinking, well, that's all fine and dandy. You guys do that. You guys have money and you do that. Well, first of all, we don't use our cash. And the reason why is that comes from a mindset perspective. We serve what we do in our businesses individually. We all have individual businesses. Is serve the community, right? So is it reasonable to think that in your local community, there are people that have money probably to invest, but are either unwilling, scared, uneducated, not quite sure what to do, whatever, and the money's just sitting there? So what happens if you take $10,000 and you leave it in a retirement account? What happens to it? Well, it actually shrinks over time. It still is $10,000. Well, actually, it's less than $10,000 because they charge you a fee. But if you try to spend that money today, you'll get $10,000 worth of value. But if you try to spend that money next year, you could knock somewhere between 7 and 9% off of that every year. So your money starts to erode because your buying power reduces. So think about the people in your community that have money sitting around, literally melting away. It's disappearing. Imagine if you had opportunities that were long-term opportunities that made sense, and if you could leverage those folks' resources and the experience that you get from training and reading the books and whatnot and taking on cash flowing assets, imagine how much capital you could raise and together as a community buy cash flowing assets and help everybody get free.
And you hit the nail on the head. How many people in our business try and just be the single entrepreneur, right? I'm going to do it all myself. Okay, well, eventually you're going to need someone else's help. And when we bring in these financial partners or our financial friends and we help them get a great return, it helps everybody. They're able to grow what they have in his investment. They're able to retire comfortably. I have one of my investors that I basically pay his mortgage payment on his new house that he moved to. For simplicity, we didn't write that as paying his mortgage payment, but it's amazing how similar my payment is to his mortgage payment on his brand new house because we worked together in a creative way to make sure it was a win for him and a win for me. And Tyler, I know you do very similar things. Jordan does stuff like that all the time.
Absolutely.
So I want to hit one more point before we jump off. Guys, part of the financial IQ, part of understanding how to do these deals, I know some of the people watching this are saying, Taylor, I can't live on $400 a month. I've got this, and this going on. And that's why I'm going to wholesale. That's why I'm going to flip, because I do need that influx of cash. Taylor, you've got a great statement. On a daily basis, I'm looking for cash or cash flow. So guys, we're not strictly saying that you're going to be able to live solely on cash flow. Tyler, I think you're probably the most recent one of us to have done this, but can you explain to people, like, let's take Taylor's example. I did a fourplex, used none of my own money. I'm cash flowing blank. Can you explain to people how the financial IQ part comes in when we buy it right? And at some point down the road, if we've bought it right, we do have other options with cash as far as releveraging that property. Can you explain that for us real quick?
I'll give you a real world example, and this is that pretty much anybody can do. I'm a veteran, and Happy Memorial Day to me. And I have a VA. I'm qualified for VA loans, home loans. So I used my VA mortgage benefits to buy a 4-unit little apartment building. So I was able to buy it with none of my own money. Okay, not one penny of my own money. I was able to get the realtor, the title company, and the lender all to give credits to the deal, because they're all on commission, and people on commission will do pretty much anything to get a deal done. Everybody contributed to the table, and I was able to get an apartment building. I fixed it up using a credit card. Probably not the smartest thing to do looking back, right? I paid $210,000 for that building in 2014. I used none of my own cash. I used the VA mortgage. Very simple. I went to the bank, got a mortgage, off we go. My credit score was okay, but not huge, not massive at the time. That building, it just appraised. That was in 2014. That building appraised this past January for $429,000. That is a over 100% appreciation in less than 4 years, right? Less than 4 years. So think about that. Now, you think that's great. Do a cash grab, go out and take a vacation, buy a Lamborghini, and do all other stuff. What did we do? No, we leveraged that equity, right? So we we refinanced the loan, dropped the interest rate down to 3.5%, which dropped the payment initially, but we took some of that equity out. We used that equity to buy more additional cash flowing assets. Therefore, today, this building, even with that new mortgage, nets us take home, that's paying after paying all the bills, $5,000 a month clear. That's net. That's not gross. That's net. $5,000 a month. And we have cash flow coming in from the assets that we acquired using that extra money. So you see how this can grow over time. And before you know it, 10 grand a month is not rocket science. It's not hard to get to 10 grand a month. It really just takes some self-discipline.
Notice that Tyler didn't say, I bought this property banking on the property appreciating 100% in 4 years. Notice that he did not say that. He said, I bought this as a cash flowing asset, and I'm going to go out on a limb here. It fit your criteria. It fit your investor identity. And then you had an extra bonus on top of that because it did appreciate. I see. We talked about 2006 through 9 a little bit ago, and how so many people got in trouble. They did the exact opposite of what Tyler just said. The property doesn't cash flow, or it barely breaks even, and I'm banking on it appreciating 50%, 100%, and then I'm going to make that big paycheck. Well, then something happens, right? So, guys, if you do it the way that Tyler's saying, and you buy it right, it cash flows, it fits your identity, your criteria. Like, no matter what happened on that loan, he was going to be good on the property. It's just an added bonus. So that's where the IQ comes in.
Well, let's throw the best part in there. So normally, if I was to walk away with a $200,000 and some odd payday, I would get a $200,000 tax bill based on a $200,000 tax payday, wouldn't I? Well, reality is it's borrowed money. So that money that we leveraged from the building is completely tax-free. Not tax-deferred, tax-free, because it's borrowed money. 100% tax-free. No taxes, tax-free. Not hard, guys.
That's also why we talk about, and if you insist on keeping your Roth, if you insist on keeping it, guys, there's different types of Roths, there's different type of retirement vehicles. Some of these you're taxed on the seed, that's the money you put in. Some of these you're taxed on the harvest, which is the money you take out. And so if I have a choice of being taxed on one or the other, this one I haven't put my effort into yet. I haven't put my physical capital, my energy, my intelligence to grow, to do the effort for this part. Why should the government get part of this, guys? If you hear nothing else we say, move what you're doing to something that's already been taxed. Again, we talked about this earlier. Your taxes are going to go up. Take the hit, get taxed on it now, guys. We don't have time to go into this really in-depth conversation about the numbers, but just take my word for it. We can talk about it another time offline. If you take the hit and get taxed now, your end result is going to be higher every single time without fail.
For those of you watching, if you're finding value in what we're saying, share this video with somebody in your network. Put the message out to other people. This isn't about selling some guru course or some other garbage. This is about educating the masses. This is about avoiding places like rent and roll and the interest-free credit cards and all the unsecured debt and unsecured loans that you get in the mail every day. I get like 30 of them in the mailbox every day. This is about financial intelligence. This is about helping other people in your community become financially free. So hit the share button and send this to other people so they too can learn, and we as a country can get financially free.
I'm a little bit upset you said that, because I was about to go into the $30,000 pitch. So I feel like we need to communicate a little bit better, because I was getting fired up for that.
Right, there you go. Oh, wait, there's more.
If you sign up now.
It's so funny because none of us even have that. Guys, I know Jordan and Tyler very well, and I can tell you that we have such a passion for financially freeing people. I'll re-echo what Tyler said. If you found value, if you want to see stuff like this in the future, we're going to be doing these a lot more regularly. I just need you to be free. I'm going on a cruise in February, paid for by my tenants. I'm going to Australia, entirely paid for by my tenants. I want you to come with me. I want you to be on that journey. I want you to go get a jet ski and go jet ski with Tyler. I don't even know what Jordan does because he's in Montana and there's like snow like 18 months out of the year. But I want you to hang out in a cave in Montana with Jordan. Like, I want this for you. Come join us. Hit the share button.
Yeah, we're gonna start making this a regular thing, like Taylor said. We'll probably try to come up with a date and a time for you. In the meantime, greatly appreciate you. We had a lot of people on, hundreds of comments, which is really fun to see. Anything else, guys?
I think that'll wrap it right there. Well, happy Memorial Day to those who served, and more importantly, to those that served and unfortunately lost their lives protecting our country. I want to say, as a fellow veteran, thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm.
And to you, Taylor, Semper Fi, even though I'm not a jarhead.
Brother, everyone's got to have superheroes. We need you guys to have someone to look up to. Thank you for your service, and to anyone watching, as someone that's been there and has lost friends, let's think about them this weekend. It's not just about the barbecue, but let's commemorate what they've given on our behalf to grow what we have, to live for them. And so I'll leave it there. Thanks for your service. Thanks for everything. Jordan, close out, sir.
Guys, appreciate you. Be safe, be smart this weekend, and we will try to keep you updated on when we're going to do this again. We've got a good group of, 3 to 6 different guys that are kind of on the same mindset as we are. So we'll probably have some different people in here and crush it for you. Thanks, guys. Cool.
That was fun. I couldn't see any of the comments on my side.